Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a really influential, maybe a bit controversial philosophy about wealth.
Yeah, we're looking at The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And it's a book that right off the bat promises results, not just, deep thoughts.
Exactly. He really emphasizes that this isn't some abstract theory. It's a manual.
A practical manual.
Yeah.
He calls getting rich an exact science, like algebra. It's aimed squarely at people who want the wealth first and are willing to, as he puts it, philosophize later.
I kind of appreciate that directness.
Yeah.
He basically says, look, you don't have to fully buy into the underlying philosophy initially,
Right.
but you do have to take his core statements on faith. You act on them, no fear, no hesitation.
And the claim is huge. He says if you apply this science correctly, failure is impossible. Pretty bold.
Extremely bold, and the foundation for this, he mentions, is the monistic theory.
The idea that everything comes from one single substance. One is all and all is one. It has roots in ancient Hindu philosophy, and later Western thinkers picked it up, people like Emerson.
But Wattles is saying, don't get bogged down in the philosophy debates.
Pretty much. Focus on the action steps he lays out. Prove it to yourself by doing it.
Okay, let's dive into the first big idea he throws out there.
Yeah.
The necessity of wealth. He really challenges the whole notion that poverty is somehow noble.
Oh, absolutely. He argues pretty forcefully that you actually can't live a truly complete or successful life without being rich.
Why not?
Because developing your talents, your mind, your soul, all of that requires using things. And most things, they cost money.
So riches are needed for, like, full self-expression.
Yeah.
Mental, spiritual, and physical.
Exactly. And he takes it a step further. He says being content with less than you're capable of enjoying and using is actually sinful.
Wow, okay. That word sinful, that's strong. Calling poverty sinful or contentment with less, it risks sounding like blaming people for their circumstances. How does he justify that?
His angle is about the universe's inherent drive. He frames it as life itself wanting more life, more expression, more advancement. So if you deliberately hold yourself back, if you refuse the means, the money needed for your full expression, you're kind of going against nature's grain, against the purpose of life itself.
And he breaks down life into three parts, right?
Yeah, the body, the mind, and the soul. And he stresses that none is better or holier than the others. A full life means expressing all three.
So, well, the body needs good food, rest, comfortable living, recreation, obvious stuff. The mind needs, books, study time, travel, art, and the soul. That's interesting. He says the soul needs love, but also the ability to give, to bestow benefits.
And you can't really give if you have nothing.
That's his point. If you have nothing to give, you can't fully play your part as, say, a parent, a spouse, a citizen. So from that perspective, getting rich becomes almost a moral duty.
Okay, that leads us to the exact science part. If it's a science, it means specific laws, a repeatable process. He calls it doing things in a certain way.
Yes, the certain way. This is the absolute core of the book. So what does this certain way rule out? What are the things we think cause wealth, but he says don't?
Right. He spends a lot of time debunking common assumptions. He says getting rich is not about your environment. Rich and poor people often live side by side, work in the same industries.
Okay, so location isn't the key. What else?
Not thrift or saving, surprisingly. He points out lots of very thrifty people stay poor, while some free spenders get rich.
That goes against a lot of conventional wisdom.
It does. And here's another big one. It's not primarily about talent or innate ability.
Really, not talent.
He argues strongly it's secondary, method over raw talent. He notes that you see incredibly talented people who are poor and others with seemingly little talent who get rich. Now, we should mention he uses some, pretty dated and offensive terms here for less talented people like blockheads. We're just quoting the source. But his point is that the method, the certain way, is more important than genius.
Got it. So the method is everything. But doesn't that just bring us back to scarcity? If everyone follows the method, are we all just fighting over the same limited pie? Is opportunity monopolized?
But Wattles tackles that head on. He completely rejects the idea of scarcity. This is fundamental.
No scarcity. How?
He says no one is poor because nature is poor or because there isn't enough to go around. He introduces this concept of the invisible supply. He calls it formless stuff or original substance.
Formless stuff. Okay, that sounds very abstract. How can we think about that today? Like, what's a modern analogy?
You could think of it maybe like pure potential. Or like the source code of reality. It's this infinite underlying substance that permeates everything. It's alive, it's creative, and it's constantly producing more forms from itself.
So like digital information, you can copy it endlessly without using up the original.
Kind of like that, yeah. The supply is inherently unlimited. So the reason for poverty isn't a lack in nature, according to Wattles. It's about how you interact with this formless stuff.
Which totally changes the game from competition to something else. So let's get to that first principle. How do you tap into this formless stuff?
Through thought. He states the formless stuff is a thinking substance. Thought is the power that causes it to take form.
So the universe is essentially a thought creation.
In his model, yes. And humans are thinking centers. We can originate thought. And by impressing our specific thoughts onto this formless substance, we can cause the thing we think about to be created.
Okay, but this isn't just daydreaming, right? It sounds like it needs discipline.
Absolutely. Vague wishes get you nowhere. You must form a clear and definite mental picture of exactly what you want. Crystal clear.
Like a blueprint.
Precisely. And you have to hold that picture constantly in your mind, like a sailor focusing on the destination port. But just having the picture makes you a dreamer.
So what makes you a scientist, someone who gets results?
Two more things: purpose and faith. Behind the clear vision, you need the unwavering purpose to actually realize it, to bring it into the physical world. And you need invincible and unwavering faith that the thing is already yours.
Already yours. Like you believe you've received it even before you see it.
Yes. He quotes the Bible, "Believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them." It's about acting and feeling as if it's already a done deal. That's the crucial step.
That's a high bar for belief.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that connection, that faith, especially when reality might look different?
Through gratitude. This is non-negotiable for Wattles.
Gratitude. Why is that so critical for, a science of getting rich?
Because gratitude, he says, is what aligns your mind harmoniously with the formless intelligence, the thinking substance. Being thankful connects you. It opens the channel so your thoughts are received.
And the opposite is also true.
Exactly. If you focus on lack, complain, doubt, worry, if you look at the appearances of poverty or sickness around you and let that dominate your mind, you basically cut off the connection. You lose ground.
So it requires intense mental discipline, guarding your thoughts constantly.
Fiercely. He says you use your will only upon yourself to force yourself to think the right thoughts and act the right way. Avoid news, conversations, anything that fills your mind with doubt or images of lack.
That sounds isolating almost.
It's demanding. He calls someone who can think wealth while surrounded by poverty or health while surrounded by disease a mastermind.
Okay, so that's the mental foundation. But we live in a world with other people, with businesses. How does this shift from the inner world to the outer? He talks about moving from a competitive mind to a creative one.
Yes, this is a really key distinction. The competitive mind thinks in terms of limitation taking from others, beating rivals, fighting for a fixed market share. It's zero sum.
Right.
The creative mind, however, operates from that principle of abundance, the formless stuff. It focuses on creating new value, making new things, adding to the world. Since the formless wants more life for everyone, it helps you create, but it won't help you take from someone else.
So no sharp practices, no cheating, no trying to get something for nothing.
Absolutely forbidden if you're using this science. It violates the principle, which leads to his core rule for all your actions and transactions, the rule of use value. In every single transaction, you must give the other person more in use value than you take from them in cash value.
Can you give an example? Use value versus cash value.
Sure. Let's say you sell someone a tool for $20. If that tool allows them to do work that earns them hundreds of dollars or saves them hours of effort worth far more than $20, you've given them more in use value. Every deal has to be a net gain, a life advancement for the person you're dealing with.
That's actually a very high ethical standard for business.
It is. If your current business relies on getting the better of people, he says you have to change it or get out of it.
Now, related to that, one of the most, let's say, challenging parts of the book is his advice on poverty and charity. If you get rich using this method, how should you help the poor?
Yeah, this is where the context of the early 20th century really shows. And we need to be clear, we're reporting his views, not endorsing them. He claims you cannot help the poor by focusing on poverty, studying it, talking about it, or even through traditional charity.
Why does he argue against charity?
He argues it often just perpetuates the wretchedness it aims to relieve, keeping people focused on lack.
So what is the way to help, according to him?
His answer is stark. The best and maybe the only way to truly uplift the poor is to get rich yourself using the creative method. By doing so, you become an example and inspiration, showing them that it's possible to rise out. You make the most of yourself.
Making the most of yourself is the highest service. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have the thought, the clear picture, the faith, the gratitude, the creative mindset. What's the final piece? It can't just be thinking.
No, absolutely not. Action is the crucial step that bridges thought and manifestation. Thought gets the creative forces moving, bringing the thing to you.
But action.
Action is how you receive it. You have to physically take possession of what's coming your way. Thought impels, action receives.
Does that mean waiting for the perfect opportunity? Quitting your job to find the right situation?
No, quite the opposite. He's emphatic. You must act now, right where you are, in your current job, your current environment. Don't wait for a change of scenery or a better gig. Start applying the method immediately.
Okay, act now. But how should you act? What makes the action effective?
It has to be efficient action. And what he means by that is doing everything you do right now in a successful manner.
What defines successful manner here?
It means putting the full power of your vision, your faith, and your purpose into every single act, no matter how small or mundane it seems. Each act must be performed with the intention and feeling of success.
So even small tasks matter immensely.
Immensely. Successful action is cumulative. If you do today's work inefficiently or neglect small things, you essentially break the chain and delay receiving what you desire. Every act must be a success in itself.
What about for someone who works for wages? How does this apply? Just do your current job well.
Yes, but more than that. You don't just fill your current position adequately. You have to hold the vision for the position you want while acting with full power where you are. You need to be, in a sense, too big for your current job.
Too big for the job. How does that work?
You do your current work perfectly, efficiently, but you also carry the mental attitude of advancement. You radiate this sense of increase, of growth, of moving forward. You impress everyone you interact with, your boss, coworkers, customers, with this sense of advancement.
And the idea is that this attracts the opportunity.
That's the claim. By holding the vision and acting efficiently with the sense of increase, the supreme intelligence working through people and circumstances will inevitably bring the right opportunity for advancement to you.
Wow. Okay, this has been a really fascinating look into what is essentially a complete system. It's demanding, requires incredible discipline mentally and physically.
It really is. It weaves together metaphysics, positive thinking, and a kind of ethical capitalism. That core process is clear, though. Form the vision, hold it with faith and purpose, cultivate deep gratitude, and then act efficiently where you are, always giving more use value.
And the underlying message, the justification he offers, is that getting rich this way isn't selfish at all.
Right. According to Waddles, it's the most effective way you can serve God, serve humanity, serve life itself, by making the absolute most of yourself. And that, he argues, requires becoming rich through this creative method.
So thinking about that, if the universe, this formal stuff, truly wants you to have everything you desire for a fuller life, if your desire for more isn't just greed, but, as he puts it, life-seeking expression, it does pose a question for you, the listener.
Mm-hmm.
If you reframed your own ambitions, not as maybe selfish wants, but as this desire for fuller expression, this urge for more life, how might that perspective shift actually change how you plan, how you think, and how you act starting today? That feels like the experiment Waddles is really inviting everyone to try.